All right, guys. This is Moshe coming to you from Israel and the Galilee. Today's Thursday. We're going to do a war update, which is now probably going to include Iraq, and I'll explain all of that with you, and likely maybe Turkey. Not entirely sure on the specifics on Turkey. We know in Bible prophecy it'll happen. It's listed in Psalm 83 as the Hittites, and it's likely to go down. Israel's very active last night in Syria, blowing up all kinds of bases and airports to prevent Turkey from using them. Turkey is in the process of creating a military alliance with the new government of Syria, which is called HTS. There's lots and lots and lots of protests against Hamas in Gaza. Netanyahu's trying to mess up the democracy by controlling the judicial system here in Israel. Yemen got something like 17 attacks last night, and there's C-17’s in Diego Garcia now. The count on the B-2 Spirit stealth bombers is probably 8. One of them that was traveling was crossing over Hawaii and had to declare an emergency and land. It wasn't attacked or anything, it had malfunction. So I don't think that plane made it to Diego Garcia. There's, I believe, 3 B-52 bombers there now, with what's probably 8 B-2 Spirit bombers. There's a slight chance it's down to 7, but I believe it's 8. It's not 9. Of course, that one plane had a mechanical problem and had to do an emergency landing. So I don't think it may come in a day or two. It may need a part. They may fly the part out and it may get there in a day or two, which is likely. They're also flying a bunch, I think 6 or 7 C's. I don't have the exact number in my head. C-17’s to Diego Garcia. They're already there. These are huge cargo ships. What do they have on them? I don't know. What are the likely things they have on them? Bombs and missiles. Lots of them. So America is staging for war. And it appears to me they're going to attack the Houthis in Yemen with these heavy bombers, as well as Iran. And we'll unpack all this stuff as we go. And we're going to talk about fires. And we found some interesting fire maps, and there sure are a lot of fires in America. A lot. North Carolina, South Carolina, they're not even able to contain them now. California got raped a few weeks ago. Florida, in Colorado, it's all over the place. It's really big, and it's serious, okay? And it's in Bible prophecy. I will kindle fires in and around your cities. That's the way America gets it, from fires. America's burning. I know they don't teach it, but it's there. It's in Jeremiah 50:51. It's also kind of implied in Isaiah 47. If you don't know Isaiah 47, you don't know Jeremiah 50:51, you should become familiar with it. If you don't know Ezekiel 25 and you don't know Jeremiah 49, you should become very familiar with it. So let me make sure I have a live stream and we'll get going. I still don't have my equipment fixed up yet. We're getting there though. I bought 2 devices One was a Samsung phone, one step behind the latest one, and it should be here in, I don't know, 2, 3, 4 days or something like that. And then I have a Samsung tablet moving here that'll probably be here next week, maybe early next week. I didn't buy another Apple because they're so bad with the electronics. I mean, they're always giving you trouble, and the existing iPad I got now is giving me funny symptoms. I don't know if they're fatal. Keeps telling me I got moisture in the iPad no matter what charger I use. This has been going on for days. There's problems with these things, with the electronics. Why they have them there, I don't know. I invested some money to try to revive the MacBook, and it didn't revive. And then I found out that if you buy a power brick, which is, you know, a thing you plug into the wall and you have a lot of USB ports and stuff in there, that I saw a video where a guy was trying the Apple chargers and the aftermarket chargers, and it wouldn't work, and then he put it in the power brick and boom, it worked. And the MacBook, I mean, we've gone through charges for that thing, and it, you know, they work for a while and then they don't work. So I'm trying that to see if I could revise that. So I had to buy some more stuff. So I threw about $300 roughly into trying to bring the MacBook around, and I didn't get there. And let me add this up. I'm in about $2,400 on this, and the people sending money in to help me with this didn't get up to that level. So if you guys want to help, I'd appreciate it. It's a little tight. I have to pay the rent this month, and I don't pay just one rent. They make you pay, this guy makes me pay the rent 3 months at a time. So that was, everything hit me at the same time, you know. So I appreciate if you guys want to help fund the acquisition costs of this stuff so I can keep going. I am not sure if the MacBook Pro will come back to life, but I'm trying everything I can. If for no other reason, I'll have more backup, okay? And the Samsung is probably going to prove to be a better product, and they tell me I can move the data from the iPad to the Samsung, or at least some of it anyway. So I'll try that. And my intention is to just use it for you know, just for the broadcasts. I don't want to use it for regular use. You know, I'll keep using the iPad as long as I can. And I'm going to use the Samsung, predominantly the phone, just for live streaming, backup, and if I'm out of the house, I can use it. Okay, I got a plan with a large amount of data. I think 90 gigabytes of data transfer, which is good amount, you know. So I'm gonna, it may, you know, if the iPad, you know, I mean, I'm still on thin ice. You know, what I used to have was I used to have 2 iPads, and the MacBook would work, and so I had backup. But now I lost an iPad and I lost the MacBook, so I'm on thin ice. And my phone is very old and iffy, but I'm going to keep using it for phone calls. And if it gets bad, then what it's going to, you know, boil down to is I'll be back probably broadcasting with the Samsung tablet which I bought a good one. I got the S10. I got a good deal on it. And it's a Latin American version, which means warranty may be iffy, but trying to use warranty in Israel is rather iffy itself. And then I think I'll be able to switch the language on that away from Spanish to English without a lot of problems. And I can then set that thing up. And so it might get to the point where I'm using the Samsung tablet for the broadcasting, and or the phone. I don't know how I'm going to do it. It's probably, if it gets bad, I'll use the Samsung phone for broadcasting, and the Samsung tablet for doing Bible studies during the live stream and stuff like that. So I mean, this is part of the problem that you have when I'm working with the people I'm doing it, because in Revelation it says he makes war against those that have the testimony of Yeshua, which another scripture says is prophecy, and follow the commandments, which is the law. So you're the guys that get oppressed by the devil. He tries to make you weary. So the odds of, most of you don't have a lot of money, and that's the audience that I have. That's where I'm directed to work with. So it's a real problem, where the ones with the other gospel and the other Jesus and the lies and the false prophecies and all that, they I know the kind of money they make, and it's not unusual for them to make $40,000-$50,000 a month to even higher. Okay, it's really not. I'm telling you, not at all. All right, and that's just the way it is, So that's my life. Okay, all right. So let me get into the live stream here and make sure we're operating good. I think we are. Now it's trying to load. It looks like we're okay. I'm not going to put any posts up in the chat. In the description box, I have my PayPal for offerings, and that's the best for me, because I could get it directly into Israel. So try to avoid GoFundMe or Patreon. Try to use the PayPal if you can. And I have my email address at the bottom of the live stream, which is israelgiving with the number 7 at gmail.com. Okay, so let me make sure that, yeah, we're looking good. All right. So I'm going to do some praise, and I'll tell you what's going on. There is no God like Jehovah. 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 There is no Messiah like Yeshua. 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 All right. So I had a shortage of, I think, $400 or $500 from what people sent in to what I had to pay out. So that's my shortfall. About, I don't know, say $450. So that's would get me back where I was, I guess. All right, so let's begin. Israel's attacked lots of military bases left over by Bashar Assad in Syria. Now, I'm not talking about a weapons depot or a missile facility or a drone factory. Those have all been obliterated by Israel. We probably did in excess of 100, probably wanted to probably pushing 200 or even more attacks on Syria, different targets. It could be even 300. And these are just bases that were left standing, okay? And we're blowing those up now. And airports, because we don't want to see Turkey move in. And he's getting a piece of land in central Syria from the HTS government of Syria. And we don't want him to start occupying military bases, so we're blowing them up. It's more convenient to blow them up before Turkish troops get there. Okay, you don't want to wait till they move in and have anti-aircraft missiles or whatever. You know, you blow them up before, so what's Turkey going to say? Well, Turkey knows what's going on, but what are they going to say? I don't know. You know, I don't know what they're going to say. I don't know. Now, this is the big thing. Yesterday, Israel was practicing I'll just describe. Aircraft from Israel flew to the border between Iraq and Syria, but did not enter Iraq. Okay? Iraq and Syria have a border. Iraq has no land border or no border with Israel at all. So this is nothing but Israel getting ready to strike Iraq. Why? Well, there's a few reasons. One big reason is Israel will, to attack Iran, Israel will fly into Syria, then cross over Iraq, and then attack Iran, probably in the southwestern portion of Iran, which puts them closest to Israel, which is where they would have missile launchers, not necessarily nuke facilities, they'd have missile launchers there and missiles. So Israel is practicing hitting Iraq. Now, what are they going to do to fly over Iraq? Well, they're not going to fly over Iraq just like that, because Iraq does have radar and anti-aircraft missiles. So what Israel is going to do is fly in and knock out any air defenses and radars to make it safe for Israel planes to fly over there. The planes they would be protecting would be the non-stealthy or partially stealthy F-16s, and of course the F-15’s, which can carry heavy payloads. Do you understand? Now, does this explain what's going to happen in Iran? Well, the F-15’s and the F-16’s and the lightweight stealthy F-16’s, they got some stealth. You know, they use the fuselage coating of the F-35, and they put it on special versions of F-16’s, which we have some of, a bunch, I think. So they're somewhat stealthy. They're a lot harder to get a lock on than a regular F-16, or maybe not a lot harder, but harder. But still, you're hanging weapons outside, bombs, missiles and stuff, rockets, outside the fuselage, so that's going to hurt the stealthiness, right? With the F-35, they conceal most of the weapons inside the fuselage, so it remains stealthy. The F-35s are quite stealthy. It's highly doubtful that Iran has anything which could make trouble for one of us F-35s. Now, bear in mind, we're the only country that America will sell an F-35 to, and they allow us to modify them and do our own maintenance and stuff. So normally they sell it to you, and then you got to use America for maintenance and repairs and stuff like that. So maybe the Americans send crews, they sell a country 20 F-35s and 100 million a pop. They might deploy a crew to go over to the country and do the repairs. But Israel doesn't do that. They don't have to do it. We're the only country. So we modify the F-35s, and nobody talks about, and why should they? They shouldn't. Nobody talks about how we modify them. But we don't modify them to make them more economical on gas. We're modifying them for war. One of the things we do is we have a 360-degree virtual, called a helmet, that one of our companies in Israel makes. I think it's Raphael. And it lets the pilot sit there and look straight ahead, and he gets like a holographic image on the helmet, or in the probably projected out in space a little bit, a foot or two or something. And he could see this image, what's going on in a complete 360-degree circle, so he knows what's going on behind him, in front of him, and on the sides of him. So it's not tremendously expensive, $1 or $2 million, I think. And we put those in, but we sell those to America also. So there's other things we do also that we don't talk about. So I have no idea what they do, but they're pretty darn effective. So it's a superior F-35, okay? So we would use probably F-35s to go into Iraq, but we would probably also use F-16s and F-15s over Syria to get close but safe distance from Iraq weapons and attack various missile launchers and radar. Now, they could have mobile missile launchers like Yemen has, and they're modified missiles you could use them, modify them for anti-ship, but they're anti-aircraft missiles, and they present a serious threat to the F-15s and the F-16s. So if they attack from close to Iraq, but in Syria, the Iraqis may not fire at them, or they may. Probably not, because Iraq is not interested in shooting ordnance into Syria airspace, because the HTS will possibly consider that some sort of an attack against them and retaliate. But retaliate with what? I don't know. Could be border clashes with rifles and things like that. I don't know. HTS being built up by Turkey is a problem. So destroying the bases makes it more and more of a problem for Turkey, which is what we're doing. Now, we're also moving troops around in Syria quite a bit now. So we're fortifying more. We don't want to see trouble with Turkey. Turkey can't get close to our border from Syria. So they have to use more expensive, longer range missiles if they get into Syria with their missiles, but they're experiencing rather serious attempt to overthrow the government. So they're on thin ice, actually. So when you get into more expensive, more long-range weapons, Turkey would have fewer of them because they're expensive, and it would be helpful to Israel because the flight time would be increased, maybe 15 or 30 seconds or a minute even, but that helps for our systems to get a lock. We have Patriots from America, we have David Sling, the Arrow, and the Iron Dome. I don't know what the exact status of the Iron Beam is, which is the laser that takes down missiles. We're supposed to have them operational in 2025, but does that mean December? Does that mean April? I don't know. They're not talking. Why should they? I don't think they should. Do we already have some and we haven't used them yet? We're saving them for an emergency. Could be we got 2, 3, or 4. I don't know. We had a prototype, or I think we still have it, where we tested it and it was operational. I mean, it works good. So we call the basic defenses Iron Dome. So what we don't want to see is Turkey come close to our border, like, 3, 4, 5 miles away with loads of cheap short-range missiles and just start swarm attacking us with them. See, warfare has changed. Now it's about drones and missiles and swarm attacks, okay? Where you try to overwhelm the defenses of your enemy by throwing a large amount of drones at them. Like Russia, I think, sent 300 in one dose. That's a lot of drones. So you could send a few hundred drones to overwhelm defenses. I mean, that's rough on us, right? And then you can also back it up with a good amount of missiles, and that's the swarm attack. Right now, America is got a problem in Yemen with the Houthis and their missiles, and I will explain it to you. These missiles originally come from Russia. They're sort of a cruise missile, and they go rather slow, about 360 or so miles an hour. American cruise missiles go at 550, as does Israel's. This is somewhat slower. But it can fly at 18 meters. Is it meters or feet? I forgot. Well, it can fly, I think, at 18 feet. I think that's what it is. It might be meters. So it can go something like, 20 or 50 feet over the surface. But I think it's 18. And the American ships, the aircraft carriers, destroyers, missile cruisers, do not have radar that detect objects coming at 18 feet. They can't, if they aim the radar down, it won't have any range, So they found a vulnerability with the American warships, and that's what the American warships are scared of. These things have a maximum height, I think, of something like 120 feet. So they don't ever get very high. 120 feet, yeah, that's like a 12-story apartment building or a 12-story hotel. Yeah, the radar will get that. But when it goes to final approach, they bring it down to 18 feet. Oh, in theory, it might be 20 feet or 24 or something. But it doesn't, or it might be 18. So, remember, you're flying over the waves. So if you're dealing in 20-foot waves with, really bad stormy weather, well, it ain't going to be flying at 18 feet for long. It's going to hit a wave. A wave is not, this thick. A wave can go, 200, 400 meters or more even, and it's going to hit that water, goodbye missile, It's not going through a rainstorm or anything like that. It's good night for the missiles. So they got to stay over the waves or don't launch when there's very rough seas. If you got to, normally when you're out on the water, you're going to be seeing all kinds of waves always, but you're going to see, 3 foot, 6 foot waves in that realm, in normal weather, nice weather. That's all you're going to get. You're not going to get, even 10-foot waves. That's starts getting to be like chop or something like that, I've been in big cruise ships that weigh like 100,000 tons, and in 20-foot waves, it's incredibly rocky and everything else, which is another problem for the missile, because if the ship's going up and down, that makes life difficult, not for an aircraft carrier that's very high up, but destroyers and missile cruisers don't ride that high up in the water. So if you got 20, 30-foot waves, they're going to go up and down, and the missile could pass over them, The missiles are supposed to have an accuracy of 5 meters, which is like, 16 feet. That when you're shooting at boats from, 250, most of them are around 300 feet, the destroyers and missile cruisers. 5 meters isn't highly relevant, and the aircraft carriers are usually about 900 feet long and quite wide and big, juicy targets. So they're keeping the aircraft carrier, and to a lesser extent the destroyers and missile cruisers, away from these Houthi attacks. So the Houthis are demonstrating a significant threat level to the American warships. There's no doubt about it. And they have to be very careful and make sure they evade these missiles, or they can lose the ship. Now, if they get fortunate and hit a ship and sink a big American warship, well, I would say that's good night for the Houthis. They'll be carpet bombed, but Israel is the one that ultimately destroys Yemen, which is Edom. Let me make sure the live stream's doing okay. Hang on a minute. I'm a one-man band here, so gotta wait for it to load up. There we go. Looks like we're okay. It's so hard working with this phone because it's so many generations back. I don't even know where I'm at now. I'll reload it. For some reason, the phone's having trouble picking up the internet. Why, I couldn't tell you. It shouldn't. I'll wait for it to load. It may not load. I don't know. If it doesn't load, well, let me check my connections here. No, I'm on the right Wi-Fi, and I got mobile data behind it, so it should be going. Maybe other apps are working at the same time. It looks like it's up now. Maybe other apps All right, let me take a look into the. No, it doesn't want to do that. I'm trying to get into the chat to see what kind of bad stuff people are putting up, and let me hit chat. It's so hard to use this thing. Let me try one more time. It's so hard to use this thing. Let me try one more time. I go to chat, and it opens the keyboard automatically, which it makes it you can't read the chat. I go to chat. Now I got someone else's. Oh, I got it now. All right, I think I got it. Oh, I got it now. All right, I think I got it. Let's see. Yeah, it wasn't planned. The Carl Vincent got sent out. It's chugging towards Israel, well, the Middle East, not necessarily Israel. It probably, oh, I see the problem. It's probably going to be here the second or the third week in April. It may come a few days earlier, I don't know. The Harry Truman aircraft carrier here now got extended for a month. So I think that when the Vincent's here, the Truman's going to still stay here. And then when the Truman leaves will be when the other two aircraft carriers get here. So there'll be a total of 3. If I shut it off, I lose the chat. So, I mean, this phone's very old. If I shut it off, I lose the chat. So, I mean, this phone's very old. Yeah, the children are here putting their nasty comments up. You can only imagine what kind of life these people have, where it's so important for them to run around and just come into strange live streams and write insulting comments. Where it's so important for them to run around and just come into strange live streams and write insulting comments. Yeah, I turned the volume down. No, it seems when I put the stop on the chat on the live stream, the chat goes away, or I'm doing something wrong. I don't know, but let me make sure the volume got turned back up. Yeah. So anyway, it looks like we're gonna hit Iraq now. Are we going to hit Iraq like, military bases and all that stuff? I don't know. Maybe America wants us to, because they might be afraid that when Iran gets hit, they're going to rise up, which is highly likely, because Iran is a proxy, or Iraq, rather, is a proxy of Iran. And it'll be destroyed in Bible prophecy. Syria goes, Iraq goes, Jordan goes, Yemen goes, Saudi gets it pretty good. Iran gets wiped out. Lebanon gets hit but not wiped out. it becomes ours. Egypt gets hit bad. Lots of bad stuff happened very quickly too. Not years, probably not many months, or maybe a month or two or something. And the people don't know because they rely on these churches, and the churches don't teach the right prophecies. And they throw everything off into Ezekiel 38 and 39, which is not for today. Right in Ezekiel 38, it says, Israel's living without bars and walls and peace and safety with great riches, cattle, gold, and silver. You think Israel is living in peace and safety? We get car rammings, terrorist attacks, infiltrations from neighboring countries, missiles daily, drones, and they tell us we're living in an attack. Tiberias is getting a little hot right now. They're planting bombs in the street. Police found one the other day. So it's getting hot. It never used to be hot, but now it's becoming an area. Why? Because there's a lot of Arab villages near Tiberias, a few miles away. Some are under 10 miles away. So you have a certain amount of terrorists in there. There you go. Okay? And now that's becoming a problem. So Gaza tried launching again. We did take that 2 or 3 missiles. We took them all down. The Houthis every day try to get us some. In the evening yesterday, they said they launched a large drone attack at us. Nobody in Israel knows anything about it. We don't know from no drones coming, Maybe they all fell in the Red Sea. I don't know. But they're absolutely attacking American ships as best they can. And I don't think they got any hits. Okay? In one case, there was a takedown. The story I got, a takedown over one of the warships, and when you have explosion shrapnel, so pieces of shrapnel came down and fell near the ship or on the ship, but that would do next to no damage to the ship. I mean, it might scratch something, or maybe if it fell and hit the windshield of a jet, it probably wouldn't crack it, but if it's a big piece of shrapnel, maybe it would. That would be about it. But I don't think it did anything, or if it did anything, it was so superficial, it was nothing. It might have hit some guys up on the deck of the carrier, I don't know, but we didn't hear anything about that. I think it was just shrapnel. So they're protesting against Hamas in Gaza. They're telling Hamas to get out. And Hamas's response to that was to launch more missiles at us. So you have to understand, they don't care about the 2 million so-called civilians in Gaza. It's irrelevant. Hamas doesn't care. Okay? Diego Garcia is where the B-52 planes, now there's B-52’s and B-2 Spirit stealth bombers in Diego Garcia. And these are real heavy bombers that can carry 30,000-pound bunker busters, as well as other 2,000, they got various size bunker busters. I think they have 2,000, 5,000, and the biggest is 30,000. The 30,000 ton goes down 200 feet and explodes. It burrows down. So, with all that, the speed from the drop from the plane and the weight of the thing, it can get down 200 feet and then it explodes. So if they wanted to get these 380 foot deep underground nuclear energy facilities, as Iran calls them, they could send several of these bombs in succession, like send one and it makes a big crater, and then send another one, and if need be, send the third one. Or maybe after you make the first big crater, you could start dropping 2,000 or 5,000 or 11,000-pound bombs and finish the job without the big boys. That's a possibility. America knows what they're doing, and they're not only interested in the nuke facilities, they're also interested in the underground missile compounds. They call them missile cities that the Iranians have built that are underground. I don't know how far underground. I'm doubting they're 300 or 400 feet, but they could be. But I think you're probably looking more at 100, 180 feet or something like that. But I don't know for sure. And they need to go. Iran says, you see, they have by the Straits of Hormuz, which is where the Persian Gulf goes to the Sea of Oman and the Indian Ocean. It's sort of South Persian Gulf, kind of southeast, and on the other end, the west of the Persian Gulf, it hits land. It doesn't have any pass through to any other body of water. So they have islands there that belong to Iran. So they've launched some new missiles they have, and they say they can hit the American base in UAE, which is the furthest away from the Straits of Hormuz. The American bases that Iran is interested in lie in Kuwait, Bahrain, Qatar, which are directly across the Persian Gulf from Iran. And then comes the UAE, which is like where the opening is around there from the Persian Gulf to the Sea of Oman. It's over there. So they could hit that from the islands. And they have these boats they've converted, which are container ships or something, and they put a bunch of missile launches up on them. They might have 25 or something. And they could move those ships around and get close to Kuwait, Bahrain, and Qatar and launch. They also have what you might want to call a drone craft carrier. They convert a civilian vessel like a container ship to carry, hundreds and hundreds of drones, maybe even in the thousands, because you could store a lot of drones inside the boat and then bring them up on an elevator, So they have those too. So the idea would be to run heavy swarm attacks on, say, military bases like the ones in Bahrain and Qatar. Qatar is an air base, a big one, and Bahrain has Navy ships there. So if they hit the American Navy base in Bahrain, it would be rather dismal for America. So here's one theory. The bombers are there now to act as a deterrent against Iran from attacking their bases and attacking Israel. And who else? Who knows what else with them. So they get the writing on the wall. The Diego Garcia is rough cut, I don't have a precise distance, from Iran 2,500 miles. The B-2 Spirits can go roughly 6,500 miles without refueling. So they could go to Iran, bomb, turn around, and come back without any refuelers. Refuelers are not easy to be defended, but more importantly, they're not stealthy. So Iran would pick the refueler jets up, which might likely precede the launch of the bombers. So when the refuelers are in the airspace, they know an attack is coming. So the B-2 Spirit doesn't need the refuelers. Well, maybe they'll refuel on the way back home, probably, because they don't want to cut a cost. So maybe it's not needed. So they might refuel out, after they do the attack and they leave the Persian Gulf. They might refuel, or they might not even bother. So that's a big advantage. Now the B-52 is not going to be able to come in stealthy at all. No stealth capability on that. And it has long range too. I'm rather certain it could fly from Diego Garcia to Iran and back. Now, the same applies to the B-2 Spirit bombers going to Yemen and back. It's about the same distance. They would not need to refuel to do that run. So I just explained to you these 18 feet out of the water anti-ship missiles they're slinging at the American ships, combining it with drones and even other missiles to swarm attack it. And, the American ships are out there hanging out in the breeze every day because the aircraft are coming off the Truman aircraft carrier, and they keep trying to get these complicated swarm attacks going on the American ships. And it's possible they can get one through. It could happen. Then you got an American ship with lives lost, and then, oh boy, it's going to break loose. Could happen. So they're being very cautious, the American warships, about staying away. They don't want to get caught up in this like that. They don't want to have a ship go down into Davy Jones's locker. No way. So it looks like America is going to use the B-52’s and the B-2 Spirit bombers on Yemen and Iran. And would they use them on Iraq? I don't think they need to. I think that's Israel's job. Israel is rather close to Iraq. We don't need any refueling tankers in the air, which is a definite warning that the attack is coming. We don't need that. And we've hit Iraq before, and we're very capable and competent of taking out Iraq. Okay, Syria's got no threat level at all to the American aircraft. If they want to fly over Syria, there's no threats. Okay? None. There's no threats in Kuwait, Bahrain, Qatar, UAE, Oman, Saudi Arabia either right now, nor Jordan, nor Lebanon. So they can fly pretty much around wherever they want to, but they got to be careful about Yemen and Iraq and Iran. Got it? So I don't think America is going to need to be bothered by Iraq. Now, why would Israel need to be bothered by Iraq? Because Netanyahu wants his pound of flesh on Iran, and he will, unless Trump absolutely refuses, he will want to be in this attack on Iran. And Trump's probably not going to refuse this. Okay? All right? So this is big stuff, and don't buy into this. Well, Trump gave Iran 60 days till May 4th or May 5th. He's not waiting, and Iran's not waiting, and he's nervous. The only justification I could come up with for moving the big bombers to Diego Garcia now, which was yesterday, well, basically yesterday, the only reason I could see it is he wants deterrent value over Iran, giving him time for the aircraft carriers to come here with their escort vessels. There's another 25 ships coming here. There are an existing 25 American warships here, and I am told that France has an aircraft carrier group, and India around the Sea of Oman, Indian Ocean area, so they're safe away from Iran aerial attacks with drones and missiles. And that's very, very not in the news, okay? I don't think it's artificial because the source I got it from is meticulously, it's an Israeli guy, a Jewish guy that knows Arabic. And yeah, they're there. The two aircraft carriers, one from France, one from India are there, and they're not doing anything. You see, America, this you're not picking up either. We got this from Iraq. America is interdicting Iranian ships for a few days now, and they've confiscated some because they're throwing oil out through, well, that's too slangy. They're sending oil on tanker ships, oil tanker ships out of the Persian Gulf, with forged documents to make it look like it's coming from Iraq. But America's got full surveillance over the Persian Gulf, and they're tracking these ships not departing from Iraq, departing from Iran, and they stopped them, and they saw they were forged documents to make it look like it was an Iranian ship. So it shows you that the Iranians think that the Americans are a bunch of village idiots, you know. And they're not just sending the ships back, they're confiscating the ships with the oil. So Trump said he is going to put sanctions heavy duty on Iran, and he's doing it by enforcing the sanctions. So the bombers are there because Trump's cognizant of the fact, and the Pentagon is cognizant, and the CIA and the NSA are understanding that Iran is going to boil over and explode, and they're probably not going to wait for the other aircraft carriers and their escort vessels. Now, how do you get to 25 ships coming? Well, you got 3 carriers coming, right? Minimally, they would run with 3 or 4 escort vessels. That's the lowest you ever see, right? But in this case, they could very likely be at 6 or 8. So if they're at 6, you got 18, plus the 3 carriers, that brings you to 21. And then you got another few ships, oilers to refuel, supply ships, repair ships, whatever, right? There you go. Now, they don't count submarines, but you better believe there's submarines here. And Iran has, a few days ago, launched some of their submarines to come to the Red Sea. And I also understand Iran has several more intelligence gathering ships in the Red Sea, other than the one America sank several days ago. America's been attacking Yemen either 12 or 13. Today could be day 13. I think we're on day 13, maybe 12. Tonight, if the new moon is seen, the Arab holiday Ramadan is on its last day. That's usually quite violent. Can you get the picture? Iran celebrates Ramadan. it doesn't have to be violent on the last day is a very big celebration and a meal, and they pat themselves on the back how holy they are, and all this stuff, right? And they get very vicious. And there was a car ramming attack in Germany with casualties 1 or 2 days ago. It's closing a Ramadan out. We're getting car ramming attacks in Israel. We had one a few days ago. We get terrorists. Every day we're taking out 1 or 2 terrorists. So Trump's afraid Iran's going to rise up, and he wants them to know that if they rise up and they hit American bases, they're going to have 8 B-2 Spirits and 3 B-52’s bombing them. And I understand there's a few hundred other aircraft of America in the region, even could be up to 300, heavy concentrations of various kinds of fighter jets. And then there's a lot of refueling tankers that are also at Diego Garcia too. Not quite 10, I don't know, maybe 9, quite a few. Refueling tankers can refuel, like, one tanker can refuel 5 fighter jets, which burn gas like it is no tomorrow, And they could definitely refuel B-52’s and B-2’s. They don't necessarily have to give them a full tank, for the distances we're talking about here. A quarter or a third of a tank or half a tank would do the job. So they could refuel a lot of planes. We're not talking great distances. You're not going from Hawaii to Iran or anything like that, You're going something resembling Boston to Miami, that kind of a run, From Diego Garcia. They're using Diego Garcia because America has good control over it. It's run by the British. It's secure. And it's out of the range of anything Iran can throw at it, unless Iran tries to get close with their missile launching ships or their drone launching ships, in which case America would send them to Davy Jones's lockup post haste. They wouldn't play games with them, just blow them up. I'm going to take a quick break and get a cup of coffee going, which is going to be instant coffee. And I have a turbo water boiler. It'll be quick. I'll be right back. Take a break. Right back. That wasn't too bad. All right. So, I'll open up the window. I think it's warmer outside than it is inside, which is common here. So, the bottom line is, do I think a war is going to break out between America and Iran predominantly in the next coming days? Absolutely. Why? Because Iran knows that if they wait for those 3 other aircraft carriers to get here, now bear in mind the Harry Truman's going to leave. Unless war breaks out, then the Harry Truman will get extended again. Believe me, it will. And Iran knows that. That'll be 4 aircraft carriers. At least 300, 320 planes more, in addition to the 200 or 300 that America has in the area now. Trump's already interdicting their ships, seizing them. They're moving missiles around. They're going with propaganda to scare the public around the world with missile cities and all this stuff. They don't need such hot radar to hit Kuwait, Bahrain, Qatar, and the UAE. They have ships that go out in the Persian Gulf that got radar, and they can guide the missiles that way, even though if it's land launched, the ship could take the guidance over, I believe. That's what they were doing in the Red Sea, so I'm pretty sure they do have that capability there, that's for sure. So Kuwait has 5,000 American servicemen there. They hit the base, they get 100, 200 casualties. What do you think happens? F-22 Raptors, F-35 start taking out anything that can pose a threat to the B-2 Spirits, which is probably nothing, and the B-52’s. And Iran's going to go up in smoke. One of the last targets they're going to hit is the nuclear facilities, not the first target. Why? Because when you want to take out their air bases, their missile sites, their warships, take all that stuff out, and then at your leisure you can blow the nuclear facilities up. Why go after the nuclear facilities first while they're launching missiles at all the bases America has in the Middle East? And the Houthis will attack as best they can the American bases in Saudi Arabia, probably the oil refineries as well, to spike oil prices. And Iran will probably do the same thing. Hit the oil refineries and the storage facilities and the piers, the ports, the piers where ships pull up and they offload the oil and natural gas onto the ships. They'll hit that in Kuwait, Bahrain, Qatar, UAE also. Oil prices will go, I don't know what they're at, 60 a barrel or 60 something a barrel. They'll go to 150, 200. Your price at the pump will triple. Overnight, almost. That strains economies. That's why India is involved here. Because Trump told India, I got oil, I'll give you oil. We're going to protect the Saudis, they'll give you oil. That's why China made a deal with Saudi for oil 10, 15 days ago, I guess. They know Iran's not a reliable source. And they're not going to send, 25 warships and 400 planes and 250,000 soldiers over there to support Iran. It's a lot easier to just go to Saudi Arabia and be nice and make a deal instead of dropping, you know, 300 or $400 billion the first few weeks of the war in what it'll cost. Is Trump going to bring Iran to their knees with sanctions? Zero chance. No. Iran will come out fighting. They're suicidal psychopaths, and they will fight. And they have a lot of this hybrid warfare stuff, like go fast boats and converting container ships to drone launching aircraft carriers, stuff like this. It's all harassing, okay? And it's dangerous. But they don't have any naval superiority. They're light years away from it, including submarines. And they don't have any air superiority. Well, what the heck are they going to do? You see, it's pretty dim-sighted. Does attacking the bases in Kuwait, Bahrain, Qatar, UAE, and Jordan, and Saudi Arabia, which, believe me, Yemen will hit Saudi and Jordan. In the last year and a half, they hit the Aramco oil refinery in Saudi Arabia twice with missiles on different occasions. Now, there were lightweight hits, one missile the first time, two the second time, so Saudi rebuilt in, a week or 10 days. But if they hit them with 11 missiles and drones, it might take 11 months to rebuild. Oil prices, whoop. What happens to Europe when oil prices go up? They're paying $8, $9 a gallon in Europe, like we pay $9 in Israel a gallon for diesel, $9 a gallon, okay? Triple the oil prices in Europe is, what are they going to do for an economy? Iran's not sitting there they're saying, oh, we'll attack the American bases, which is also going to include the American bases in Syria, which is another reason why Israel may hit Iraq a lot harder. But the radar would do it. Without the radar, they couldn't send missiles to the American bases. Iraq is a proxy of Iran. You got to understand that. It appears to me that Iraq is not as insane as Yemen and Iran and Gaza. Not that crazy. More like the way Syria was. Syria wasn't that crazy. Crazy, but not that crazy. So they'll hit the American bases in Syria if they can too. Is Trump doing the interdicting of the ships before the aircraft carriers get here as sort of a way to provoke Iran, like in World War II with Japan? Get Iran to do another Pearl Harbor type event? Then the American sentiment against Iran will go through the roof. You'll be driving around in the streets and you'll hear people playing bomb, 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 bomb Iran on their radios in the cars, It'll go back, it'll go up to being the number one hit song, Bomb Iran, from the 1980s. 1980, I think. It was a takeoff on, I believe, the Beach Boys song, which was Barbara Ann, about seeing some girl at a dance and asking her to dance. And they changed Barbara Ann to Bomb Moran. And that was when Iran had the overthrow in '79. They released the song around 1980. I don't think Trump has to stoop that low myself. It's always a possibility, but I don't think he has to stoop that low. Prophecy in Jeremiah 49 tells us Elam, which is Iran, Iraq, and parts of Syria, most likely, will be completely devastated, and the people will have to leave, and they'll be spread into all the nations of the world, and the sword will follow them till they get cut off. So they'll probably go into the other nations, and then Jeremiah 30:11 will happen, and they'll get it there. Or I don't know exactly. I think Iraq is headed down that road too. Maybe not such a total devastation, I don't know. There is no Iraq in the Bible. That's a modern country name. There's no Iran in the Bible. It's a modern country name as well. Iran knows if they do nothing, the aircraft carrier groups come over here. Trump says, now or never. They tell him to drop dead. And then he blows up their nuclear facilities, and then what do? They're going to launch. Trump knows that. Another theory is Trump launched the extra aircraft carrier groups here because he intends to demolish Iran by air. After they're demolished, it would be rather safe compared to now for Trump to bring the aircraft carriers, at least two of them, into the Persian Gulf to stop the likes of China and Russia if they decide to get bold and do something to help Iran. Could happen. They're talking again about a Ukraine-Russia limited truce where they don't attack ships in the Black Sea and they don't attack energy, but I don't know. We saw this before with Trump and Putin told Trump he would give such an order to his soldiers, and then he hung the phone up with Trump and he immediately launched a few hundred drones at Ukraine, and he said he would do it and he never did it. Is it going to be this different this time? I don't know, maybe. Trump says he just about has a mineral deal with Ukraine in the bag. He did that before, and Ukraine blew up on the deal in the White House, so I don't know what's going to happen. Trump's trying to promote optimism, and he should. That's a good thing. The gold prices this morning was still over $3,033, and silver was 33 and change. So it's holding. I understand if you go to the coin dealers, the pawn shops, and people that buy and sell gold and silver, and you try to sell them gold, they're afraid to buy it at 3,000 or 3,033. They're not so sure it's going to stay up there, I guess. I don't know what they're offering. Um, it barely broke the resistance line at 3,000. Before I think these gold and silver dealers are going to relax, they're going to want to see gold at about 3,250 or 3,300. Then they're going to say it's going to stay there. What they're afraid of doing is buying it at $3,030, $3,030, and then they wake up tomorrow and it's 25, it's 29, 28 or something, and they lost $100. But it's been over 3,000 for a few days, but just barely over 3,000. And if it starts a downward run, it could even dip to 2,700, When the fighting breaks out in the Middle East with America and Iran, you gotta believe that it's going to shoot up gold. I wouldn't be surprised to see it break 3,500 quickly too. The hotter the war is, the quicker it'll go up. Now, if we're attacking Iraq and also Yemen, it says we destroy Edom, which is Yemen, and America's working on Iran all simultaneously, and Russia and Ukraine are continuing to knock each other's lights out, and China's continuing to scare Taiwan with surrounding them with ships and planes a few times a week, and North Korea and their missile tests in the water over there, you'll see gold go right up. Silver too. See, silver, if it goes to 120, silver tripled. For gold to triple, it would have to go to 9,000. What's a better investment? If gold did go to 9,000, believe me, silver wouldn't be 120. It'd probably be 250, 300. You'll probably see gold and silver go to some very, very high numbers. How come Trump's not going into Fort Knox? What's up with that? We don't hear that anymore, do we? What's going on? Well, he could be just, absorbed in the war with Iran. He has to be careful. Could I be wrong and Iran and China and Russia are going to shore up Iran? Well, if I was wrong, they would be over there already. They would each have sent at least 15 warships apiece over there as a deterrent to America. What's the point of deploying ships after America wipes the place out? What, are you going to go to war over a burned out country? They don't intend to do it. So yesterday we were fighting, we were firing, we were bombing again, Latakia area in Syria, where the bases are the old, well, it's still there, the Russian Navy base on the Mediterranean by Latakia, and then the air base very close by. That's where there's about 8,000 civilians hiding from HTS government, Alawites and Christians. So I think what happened is we were defending the Russians. These militant terrorists working for HTS could have took their uniforms off, just like terrorists, and came to attack the base to get the Alawites and the Christians in Israel was supporting the Russians and attacking the people attacking the Russian bases. That's something that Netanyahu would do. This thing could ignite this morning. Okay? It doesn't have a big fuse. Iran's trying to figure out what they can do, how much help they can get, what kind of weapons they can get. North Korea, China, and Iran will give them weapons. That I have no doubt. I'll be right back. China and Russia are free to fly weapons into Iran. There's no prevention system for that being not allowed, so I'm sure they're going to, load them up with whatever they can. That I'm sure they'll do. North Korea too. So we gotta start watching the fires. On Telegram I put up, and I'll put it up again. Oops, we got a tilting iPad. All right. A good site to see fire maps. They have fire maps of the world, but you'll see the amount of fires in America is incredible right now. And that's one of the signs of the destruction of the daughter of Babylon. I will kindle fires and rip out your cities. He's not doing that at the end of it when it's over. When it's over, the waves wash over the whole daughter of Babylon, all over America. I don't know what kind of waves those are. To get waves into Kansas, we've never seen that, but Jehovah could do it. Don't worry about him. It might not be a 5,000-foot wave. It might be a 200-foot wave that just keeps going. I don't know. Could propel it with a wind, I guess. I don't know. And that's going to put the fires out, and that's going to let the animals live there. Right? They're not going to get on, you're not going to get on CNN or Fox and saying, well, we're a little concerned about the Jeremiah 50 prophecy where Jehovah says he's going to kindle fires in and about your cities. What do you think about all these fires? They're not going to tell you that. They don't believe prophecy. They believe what Satan tells them. They'll keep lying and deceiving until they can't do it anymore, which means they're no longer above ground. That's when they stop. Satan teaches them never give up, which is a great way to maximize their punishment, because he hates people. If anybody can find, I asked for help yesterday on the fire maps and I got it. If anybody can find a fire reporting website where you can actually see no more than say 2 days old or so, a list of the fires and how many acres burned and containment levels and stuff like that, I'd really appreciate it. I'm going to look too, although I have been looking for a long time. But if you could find one like that, please send it to me. Because the map shows us the fire, it doesn't tell us the acres, the containment, how long it's been burning. It's not as good as the other stuff. Like I can't tell if it's a 1,000 acre fire or if it's an 18,000 acre fire. I don't know. They don't want us to know these things, okay? But from looking at the map, it's on the way. Remember, America gets it suddenly in a day, in an hour. You're not going to see it. If it's suddenly, the chances are, when you read into that, it's just going to happen in a way that you're not going to expect it, even if you live there. Okay? Or it wouldn't be suddenly. Well, suddenly can mean you could say it'll come fast. We know it's coming, but we don't know the day. Are we seeing ruler against ruler? Well, it depends how far we carry that out. Judges are rulers in a sense, and they're trying to stop Trump's policies all over the place. That could be it. Or it could mean a civil war. That could be it too. I don't know. Prophecy gives us a general overview, but it doesn't give us all the highly specific points, I see in Gaza no signs of Hamas settling. Nothing. Without the hostages, they got nothing, and they know it. And they're not giving the hostages up, and we're not backing off. It seems when I put this up, we're not backing off. we're just blowing up the leaders, we're blowing up the structures and the tunnels, and they got no place to go. We keep moving more and more of the so-called civilians out of the northern part of Gaza, and all day and night demolishing Gaza. When there's no more buildings and no more tunnels, what are they going to do? Stand up like the British Army in the 1700s and shoot at us? Bullets will bounce off our tanks. What are they shooting at? All the bullets will do is scratch the paint on the tank. Seriously. And they'll get mowed down. Artillery bursts, bombs, everything. They don't. You're dealing with the mentally ill. If you think Putin's not mentally ill, guess again, he is quite mentally ill. The guy in North Korea's mental case too. China displays a whole lot more sanity than the rest of them. They do. That's really what I got going on, but you should really watch the fires. If you want the fire map site, send me an email or go to my Telegram and I'll give it to you. There is a prayer request for SH Sam Hotel, SH Sam Hotel. Pray that people don't take advantage of SH. Now, have another prayer request for JB. Pray that JB has peace and joy and calm today, and kick the unclean spirits out of any enemies that JB has. I got a list of initials for 4 people, but I don't have it in my head. So I put it up on Telegram as a prayer request so you could see it there. And this person's requesting continuous tossing for the next coming hours, maybe 8 or 10 hours, off and on, give it toss. That's part of the problem with equipment shortages that I'm experiencing. So, I found out something interesting. A lot of people have problems with glycemic index foods, even children and young people. And on the chat, see, the phone just turned itself on. I was 2 feet away, not touching it, and it just turned. It's an old phone. What I bought, I don't know if you know this. If you eat the apple, if you take apple cider vinegar, like 1 or 2 tablespoons, it tends to help with a lot of things, including the reducing your blood sugar level. And olive oil, which I like to use, virgin olive oil, organic and stuff, cold pressed, it works too. Taking olive oil in your mouth is rather disgusting. It tastes terrible. You got your mouth all greasy, and apple cider vinegar kind of burns on the way down, like drinking, acid or something, or kerosene. I don't know. I never drank acid or kerosene, but so what I got my hands on is I bought some olive oil capsules, and I just take those. I started taking those during the day, and they seem to greatly mitigate the high glycemic. Now, I don't eat cake and candy and ice cream and stuff like that. I'm not eating a Mars bar or the Three Musketeer with a pint of Haagen-Dazs ice cream. I don't think anything would help if you ate like that. But we're talking about things like fruit, grapes, strawberries, some raisins, dried fruit. You know, these things are not as bad as the other garbage. You know, I mean, it's not really garbage; it's real food, but it has glycemic. You know, it has a lot of sugar. So I'm using it against that. It's working good. So I ordered some that come the same thing with apple cider vinegar in a capsule. So you could swallow the capsule and you don't get the apple cider vinegar going down like sandpaper or acid or something down your throat, you know. And so I'm going to be doing that. It seems to be a good solution, you know. And take one of each twice a day or 3 times a day or something. Probably twice a day is enough, you know. Interesting. You know, young people have it. Like, you know, you go to, you know, your kids, you sit there and they order pizzas and they eat the pizza and then they get tired, you know, and stuff like that. Pizza's not as much of a bad glycemic index food, you know, high sugar level thing, than, you know, ice cream or candy bars or chocolate or, you know, nuts covered in chocolate or almonds covered in chocolate or breakfast cereals like Captain Crunch and junk like that, you know. You don't want to eat that. Tricks are for kids cereal. What are the other bad ones? Cocoa Puffs, shredded wheat with sugar. I use this cereal called Wheat Bix, which is shredded wheat without anything artificial in it, just really wheat without any sugar. And there are types of Cheerios you can get that are good, where they don't have anything in there. I think there's a type. If you look on the internet, they'll tell you there's about 10 different kinds of cereals that you could use that don't have glycemic, you know. And I'm not saying I'm diabetic. I have no reason to think I'm diabetic, you know. But I just, if I eat garbage food, like I order the pizza and I have 4 slices of pizza, yeah, then I'll get it, you know. So if I ordered pizza, if I was going to order pizza now, I would eat 2 slices and out of 8, and then I would freeze them and then work on it at 2, because I could take 2 without any issues, but it's not real healthy food. What are you getting for your body out of that, you know? So I eat things like tahina, eggplant salad, um, you know, fruits and veggies and stuff. Like I have fresh mangoes I gotta work up, I gotta cut them open. I like eating green, I don't like green, well, green peppers are good too, but I usually wind up getting red peppers, you know, fresh. And I take a knife, boom, 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 and the core with all the seeds I throw out, and I eat it at night. I like it, a late night snack. It's real refreshing. I actually think it's tastier than, you know, eating garbage. You know, like it's really refreshing too. And I don't understand why, but I bought strawberries, grapes, and peppers from the supermarket, and they're delicious. And I'm having trouble understanding why. And I made some eggs with an eggplant. I sliced up eggplant, threw it in there with the eggs. It was really good. And I'm getting good zucchini. I don't understand why the vegetables are tasting so good all of a sudden in Israel, and the fruits. I could guess, but that doesn't mean I understand. I had some strawberries last night. You know, they came with the green stuff on the top. You know, I had to pull that off. You know, and I rinsed them, and they were like nothing short of delicious. I mean, delicious. A lot of times you get, in the past, I remember we'd get fruit and it would have almost no taste. Because they don't let the land rest, you know, they get all the minerals out of the land. I bought some hamburger meat. I'm going to try it today, um, and see how that goes. Maybe that's going to taste good, although it's kosher, so I doubt it. It's probably going to be mediocre. I don't know. anyway, I'll give it the old college try and see what happens. But all right, so listen, guys, we're in critical mass here. War could break out any hour. So if you want to get the updates from the Middle East, if you care about it, if you really believe that what's going to cause the big blow-ups in the world is going to be what happens with Israel, subscribe. Don't wait for YouTube to send you notices that I did a live stream, okay? Because they only usually send one out a day, and they won't send them to everybody. So check the channel a few times a day if you're interested, or go to the Telegram, because I put all the videos up on Telegram. I put them up on Twitter too, but I don't know. Twitter's kind of, if you like Twitter, you could go there. I have a Twitter account. I update the videos there too, so it's up to you. Anyway, I send my shalom to all those who love Yeshua HaMashiach, and please pray for me and my wife Rivka, who's still traveling. It's a traveler's prayer for her, and pray for our peace, safety, protection, joy. Pray for our finances, and pray for our animals and pets, which are all rescues, to be happy, healthy, and whole. Pray for better videos, and pray for the peace of Yerushalayim. And I'll keep you guys updated as best I can. And Telegram stays updated 8-10 times a day. Now, you got to download Telegram Messenger and then send me an email asking me for the Telegram link, and I'll send you the invite link. My email address is at the bottom of the description box. It's israelgiving with the number 7 at gmail.com. Remember, the takeaway from this is, yeah, Trump may have some tactics to drag out this thing with Iran till the warships get here the second or third week in April, but Iran's got a very, very powerful interest in doing something before them, because he ain't going to have much room to do anything after them. And that's what I got, and I'm out, and I hope you got something out of this. Thanks.